Welcome back to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. My name is Steve Johnson, co-host Aurelio Martinez. Okay, in our second segment, I said we would talk about a few things that happened that we wanted to talk about that we didn't get to touch on in our first segment. I think the one we want to get right to is that in Verona, New York, that Turning Stone Casino, we had, which was it was actually promoted to be a great fight, and it was a great fight as long as it lasted. But it was Ergashev from Uzbekistan was taking on Sonny Fredrickson here for the United States.
Yep.
Fredrickson was like 18-0 with 12 KOs, and Ergashev was 11-0 with 11 KOs.
Exactly.
And it was good. It was going to be a good fight. We knew it was, but the outcome was a little bit shocking.
You know, and I was interested in that fight because, of course, you know, Sonny Fredrickson is on our a member of our Inside Boxing's Destructive Dozen.
Yeah. And
out of all that dozen of the the prospects that are coming into play now in the game of boxing, he's kind of made a leap because he's been on national TV a couple of times. He's been on the Showtime networks before, and this fight here was another opportunity for him to showcase and jump out of that prospect contender type thing into actual with the big boys.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it didn't come out as planned. So how did you see the fight coming? I mean,
well, my first concern. Do you know how old Sonny is?
He's young, maybe 20,
Okay,
21,
well,
22. He's young.
This Ergashev from Uzbekistan is 26.
Yep.
Okay, that's the first thing we have. I don't know. I don't want to be critical of Sonny's people, but I don't know if they did their homework, man. I wouldn't have put my kid in against this kid. You know, when you look back at Ergashev, his record already shown that he hasn't had a fight that's gone over 3 rounds.
No, and isn't he undefeated with all knockouts?
Yes,
yeah.
But none of them's gone over 3 rounds. That means he's just coming out. Man, he's one of those dudes that you got to figure he's coming out, you know, balls to the wall and come out, and you got to be able to keep him off you. And Sonny showed that he couldn't keep him off of him. You had told me yesterday that you heard that he had broken his jaw.
Yes. As a matter of fact, he and especially for a young guy, you remember, in order to become part of our Destructive Dozen members, you got to go back when we initially put that list together over 2 years ago. The criteria for that list was the fighters had to have turned pro less than 3 years before that. So basically, they're all new into the pro game. Okay, mm-hmm. It's not like they have 8-9 years of pro action behind them. They're all relatively new. So I think Sonny has 20 fights or something like that. He was undefeated.
I think he was 18-0.
Yeah, but that's it. But what I'm saying is, here again, when you make that leap and you take that, you got to have a game plan, okay? And one of two things happened in this fight. He had a game plan and couldn't stay to it, so there was no B plan, or they just went in there not having a game plan, okay? And which is the wrong thing to do when you get into them higher type fights. Obviously, the one concern that his trainers and handlers had to have seen was the knockout ratio. This guy obviously hits hard. He's knocking everybody out. So your first game plan is you've got to box. You've got to stay away. Your distance has to be clearly to where you score and move, and you've got to be very elusive because, especially like you say, within the first 3 rounds, you can't afford to get hit by one of these heavy-handed power hitters. And unfortunately, that happened. And it must have happened early, either in the first round or early in the second round.
Let me tell you, he couldn't keep him off of him. And Ergashev, for lack of better terminology, and for those of you that saw the fight, you'll agree with me, he clowned him, man. He clowned him, and then he actually dropped his hands and mugged him. I mean, I'm wondering if Sonny can how he recovers from. This was a devastating loss. This wasn't just a loss. This was a devastating loss. Afterwards, Ergashev went to every corner with his Uzbekistan flag around his shoulders and waving to the crowd from each corner. I mean, he clowned him, man. And like I said, I wonder how Sonny recovers from that. It's going to be a tough way to go.
Well, hopefully he's got a lot of skills. Sonny Fredrickson has a lot of skills.
Yeah.
So now it's where you got to bring him back and do your best to get this out of his mind. He can't go into another fight thinking, oh man, I can't get hit. It's done. It's over with. Stay on track, and I think he'll be back. He's young. He's hungry. So he's got to stay that way. So let's. I think he'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the main event where we had Claressa T-Rex Shields and defending her 2 titles against Tori Nelson, who's 41 years old. There was only really one thing interesting about the fight to me itself, is that Claressa had said that she was going to put it on her.
Yep.
She couldn't do that like she wanted to. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I saw several times where it looked like Claressa could have stepped it up a little more, a little quicker, maybe ended it. I don't know. There was speculation that maybe she carried the fight. I don't know. But the thing is that afterwards, Claressa said that she plans on, if need be, she'll move down as far as 154, and take on people there as time goes on. Well, that would mean that she'll have to lose some weight in order to do that. We'll get to see how that all works out for her. But right now, there's no question that Claressa's in a tough spot. She was like Layla Ali was in her prime. Tough for her to find fights. The fights that people would like her to see, she'd have to lose weight to get those fights. And I don't know if you want to do that. But she said, Claressa's on record as saying that her whole goal is to make money and to build a legacy. And if she's going to stay there at 165, it's going to be impossible. Because, hold on one second. Christina Hammer has been there the second time. The other title holder. Yeah. And Christine was there. This fight fell through because they said that there was a problem with her visas. She needed a visa to be here, and they gave her a visa to come to the country, but not to work, not to fight. And the process of doing that, her manager said that the holiday season got that all screwed up. Claressa said she thinks that was a way to avoid. Wait a minute. Claressa said, I think that was a way of her not letting us get a look at her. Okay? Which is a good point, because the people that haven't seen Christina Hammer, they don't know anything about her. I'm telling you right now, I've seen Christina Hammer, 2 of her fight clips from them. Mm-hmm. Okay, Claressa will blast her out in no time. The Claressa that is in shape and ready to go. I don't think Claressa really gave much, and I could be wrong, but I don't think she gave much of Tori Nelson to her. As far as being a real threat to her, she knew what she could do with her. Christina Hammer Radio, she poses no threat to Claressa Shields.
Well, maybe in an odd way, maybe that's why Claressa didn't knock this old lady out, because she didn't. Maybe she's trying to get Hammer a little more.
Get a little braver.
A little braver, yeah, braver. Okay? Braver. Maybe that's what the case was, where he says where Hammer might come and say, well, she didn't even knock this girl out, So maybe that was a plan. I don't know, because
it's an unneeded plan if that was it. Because, like I said, Claressa wants her just so she can, get her out of there. But I'm telling you.
But going back to your point, is the comparison to Layla Ali is a good one, because Layla really was way up and above everybody else as far as women's boxing, and there was just absolutely no one for her to fight, and it kind of detoured her career, because there was how can you have an exciting career and make the money that you want to make when there's nobody to fight? Okay.
Well, she had Ann Wolf. Ann Wolf still to this day.
Ann Wolf will fight anybody.
Ann Wolf just now in the last year calmed down on that. She just now said, Layla did what she did, and that's okay. But you remember, for the longest, we know for a fact, Ann Wolf said, I want Layla Ali, and she's ducking me. Yeah. And Layla wouldn't fight her, but that's another subject.
But same thing with Claressa. Maybe it's a little different with the females, because the pool of fighters is not as big as the men. Right. But I just don't. I've always had a problem with the champion having to make concessions, like you say, drop weight, come down in weight with this, and you're the champion. If someone wants your belt, come and get it.
But it's about money, man. It's about money now.
Well, and that's why I let you kind of run with this, because honestly, and I'm just being honest, I can't get excited about the women's boxing, and I have no idea why Showtime is putting this money into this, because obviously their viewership cannot be anywhere near the viewership of your male champions.
Well, let me say
I'm being honest. I'm not trying to be
well,
critical.
well, let's say that your sentiment is one expressed by a lot of males. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I followed the females for a long time, and so I have a different perspective. You know, they've got to build up. But let me say this: I think Showtime has jumped on the bandwagon with Claressa mainly for one reason. She is the best in the world.
And she won an Olympic
gold
medal.
Well, hold on. There's no question she's the best in the world. Coming from a strong amateur background, she's American. The same with Michaela Meyer. Michaela Meyer is another a girl that's fighting at lightweight that is going to make big waves here as long as she can keep. They guide her through the right way, because there are a lot of girls at lightweight that can cause her some problems.
That's the key.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah. Another American. Don't forget about Marlon Esparza, who signed with Golden Boy. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's 3 American girls, and that's why Showtime, I think, is on board with the female boxers.
And all the girls that you mentioned won't bring the revenue to Showtime that their male counterpart champions will.
It's a process. It's right now.
I've seen Marlon Esparza fight. Nothing special. I've seen Michaela. Nothing special. These are girls that can be beat. They can be beaten. They can be easily.
Well, Marlon can easily. I wouldn't say that about Michaela.
I saw Michaela that time. Well, she gets tagged. There's just no competition in the women's fighting. And
we got to get more
Tori
Nelson tagged Claressa Saturday night. There's no problem getting tagged. It's not a big deal.
Claressa is different. She's above everybody else. She's like you say. She's like a Layla Ali. She's way above.
She's carrying the torch.
She's obviously carrying the torch, and hopefully the other women champions, like help me out, Serrano's or
Amanda and Cindy Serrano.
Yeah, they won't find nobody. Here they got 7 belts, they champions, and no one hears about them. Why?
Editor at InsideBoxing.com.
Because they will not step up to the plate and fight. Well, maybe there's no one in there that'll fight them.
It's really not, man. It's hard.
But how can you boast you got 5, 6, 7 championships when your championship comes from fighters that all have losing records?
I got a girl from Denver, Colorado right now, and I don't usually do this. Kirsty Simmons will fight any one of these girls, and they will not call Chris Green and set up one of those fights. I can tell you that right now. So I'll give credence to what you said.
Yeah. So anyway, but let's move on and go to the next. We went over on this. But I'm hoping that picks up. I'm hoping that more and more female boxers in this country and other countries, they start coming in and start making it very competitive.
Our third and final segment. Be back in a few minutes for that. And we're going to have what we call our open topic, and I'm sure Radio will, spur as he always does. He'll say something to spur those emails to come into InsideBoxing.com.
Till next segment, keep them happy.